going on, gang? All of nobody that's here right now. Just probably gonna do this every night, and you know, cause who gives a fuck? We're just here. I'm just here. Need something brighter on the screen. It's looking all muddy again. What's going on, all two of you? How you guys doing? Tonight, I am actually doing a little bit of graphic design stuff. I have to make some covers for Lucky Larry, and so I'm going through. I've got to make posters. What's going on, bro? I think I'm gonna move this up here. This is getting kind of annoying. Can't see you guys. So I don't know if you guys know anything about graphic design, but it's something that's like incredibly easy to do, but incredibly hard to do well. Chris, my guy, how you doing? Optimus? Damn, dude, I haven't even done anything yet, but thank you for calling me a genius. I don't think I'm a genius, by the way. I think that I'm not one of these people that's like, oh, my shit's not good and blah, blah, blah. Like, I've been an artist for over like 20, 25 years. So like, I'm very confident in what I do and my abilities and stuff like that. But, I've always looked at skill or art as like a ladder. And like every artist is just on one rung of the ladder, and you're always sort of like moving up or moving down on the ladder. And a lot of the people that end up moving down are the people that don't practice at it and don't do shit with it. Thank you. Um, I I think I know why I'm not more popular, and it's because early on I think I was shadow banned for a little bit, um, and oh, thank you. The I love the Trump and Biden calls. Those are like some of my favorite scenes to write and do. Um, but yeah, I don't know, man. Like a lot of people um, just aren't in the gym enough. A lot of people don't. Um, I don't know how else to say it, bro. Like they're just not in the fucking gym enough, and they think things are just gonna work out because they've made a couple good things. But your inspiration and your ideas, that's the stuff that kind of can't really go away, and you also can't really add it. You can't just like make it appear like that. And so a lot of people get bogged down by that. It's what they call writer's block and shit like that. Did Jimmy Dore mention me recently? Because I've been seeing a ton of traffic on my channel, and people are mentioning Jimmy Dore, and I know that he shared my shit like a while ago, probably a month or two ago. It's literally where I got like 4,000 of my subscribers. Um, but if he shared my shit recently, that's cool. I need to like reach out to him or something like that. Um, there's actually like a lot of people I need to reach out to. um, Sam Tripoli being one of them as well. He's been sort of supportive from a distance, but I actually have a few degrees separation from him because I'm friends with a up and coming, pretty popular, pretty Jewish, but also Syrian comedian. And she's a really good friend of mine. I used to manage her, and then she went out to LA to do stuff in the big time. And I'm super proud of her, and I hope to see her soon. Her name is Shayna Rabbani, and she's again one of those people. This is where I get this mentality from. I've worked with so many artists, and I've been around so many artists that are just like determined, and they do it every day. She does stand up. She's either writing jokes or on stage every fucking day. I mean, dude, like look, man, I'm not the best at using the internet either. You know what I mean? Okay, a few weeks ago, I was gonna say, I was like, I don't know. You'd be surprised though, man. Like I've had my videos. I think I've had, I would say like 8 viral videos, and each one of them like gave my shit a big boost. But it's just like there's there's videos going viral every day. You know what I mean? It's the attention economy, as they say. So, but yeah, I don't know, man. I'm just out here doing my thing. I'll be honest with you. So like long time ago. This is like when, like Woody's Gamer Tag and fucking Epic Mealtime days on YouTube. Me, like every other directionless, retarded 21-year-old, I was trying to make money off of YouTube. And I had a little YouTube gaming channel, and I was pretty good. Like I had a few thousand subscribers, which even back then I think was probably harder to do. And I was making my little videos and stuff, and really what it taught me was how to edit title sequences and things like that. And I was, but I was just kind of reckless and talking pretty wild on it. And I remember my mom being like, you're gonna want to delete that eventually. Like, you're not gonna want this shit up forever. And she was like totally right. But I remember when I was doing that, I was always trying to be like, I don't know, man. I went, like I would watch these Ask Me Anything things from like channels that, like were bigger than mine, that I admired, I looked up to, I wanted to be like them. And every time somebody would be like, how do you get more subscribers? Their fucking answer was always the same. And the answer was always like, oh, yeah, I don't really think about that. I like never tried to get subscribers. I never tried to do that. And it was so frustrating. Everybody would get so fucking butthurt when they would say that. Because it's like, well, fucking, it must be nice. And blah, 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 blah. But like, I really took the advice to heart. Shout out to Werther's. What do y'all know about this? What do y'all know about this old person candy? This is old people technology. Don't sleep on old people candy, bro. It's not all candy corn. Old people know what the fuck they're talking about. Embrace tradition. Yes, artists do actually suck at selling their art. I'm like pretty decent at selling it actually. I've made a fair amount of money just in the like 2 years or so I've been doing this. I made a living off of music and booking shows and stuff like that. For like almost 10 years. Like when I was a performer, I was probably like a full-time performer for probably 4 years. Then I got sick, like I couldn't perform in 2 places at once. So I was like, well, okay, how do I fix that? I gotta book shows. So I got into that. But I've had to help artists promote their art, and yeah, they fucking suck at it. They're really, really bad. So I totally know what you mean, and it's annoying, but it's just one of those things. Like it's not in our nature to do that. So much about society, people's family, you got to take into account. Like, do any of their friends encourage them? Do any of their family members want them to do art? Both of my parents were very encouraging. So I started out as a rapper. This was like, 2012, 2013. So like kind of the birth of the SoundCloud rap era. Although I wasn't like a mumble rapper. And I had always loved hip hop my whole life, still do. And, I just never really thought anybody would take me seriously, being like a goofy, tall, white guy. And when I finally worked up the nerve to start, I was on, I was like tripping my fucking balls off with a few of my buddies, and we got roped into going to this party out in the country. And we liked the girl who was throwing the party, but we didn't really know that it was going to be like such a normie party. And so like We took a bunch of 2CB and probably had been up for 2 days, and we were dressed. We didn't look well, and I was just, I'd spent the summer writing a bunch of raps and kind of trying to, figure out what my sound might be or, whatever. And then there just happened to be like two black dudes at the party, and they were over there freestyling. And so I went over to them and I started rapping with them, and they were like, "Yo, you're really good." And then, me and the one dude linked up later, and he sort of became my mentor. I already knew how to record music at that point because I had like made music for years before that, all types of stuff, like a lot of progressive metal, like a lot of folk music. I just liked all types of music and stuff like that. But rap was the thing that like people noticed me for, and people were just like, "Oh, okay." And you look hard enough. You guys know what my face looks like now. You look hard enough, you can find my stuff. My latest stuff actually just got taken off of Spotify because I forgot to renew my fucking DistroKid thing, and honestly, I probably won't even renew it. But yeah, so that dude kind of became my mentor. He was the guy that told me like, well, you got to shoot a music video, and I was like, fucking what? And I was so mad. I hated being on camera. I hated having my picture taken. He booked me my first show. The first show I ever performed, I got paid like $80 for it. And that was a really important moment for me because it made me realize like, oh shit, like it is possible to make money from your art. Like it's possible to do that. And not only did I like perform or whatever, I did well. People liked me when I performed. And so I really focused on being the best live performer that I could be. But through my whole music career, what I really neglected was social media and online stuff. It's not even that I was bad with social media, but I utilized social media mainly to, promote my shows and stuff, because it was like, even back then, like Spotify was a thing, but it was harder to get onto Spotify. And TuneCore was still new. SoundCloud was still like a big thing. So it was one of those things where, I didn't get into music just to make money, but like when I was there and I was doing it, I was like, fuck it, if I can make money, like that's the dream, right? Like that's what you want to do. So anyway, I don't know how I got on this topic, but yeah, I do play instruments. My first instruments was drums. I started playing drums at 14. I don't have a drum set anymore, but I have been working when I was super broke, like I have been for the past 4 months. A buddy of mine who's a music producer, he paid me for some songwriting stuff and to help him produce a few country artists and stuff. And so he's got a drum set at his house. I've been playing that as well. And then I've been playing guitar since about 16. I know my way around a piano, but I can never really call myself like a piano player. And then just like, FL Studio, drum machines, beats, any kind of production and stuff like that. I spent a lot of time around EDM artists. I managed a couple EDM artists. The guy who was my main producer in my rap career, he was sort of, I'm a very like monogamous artist. I usually find one guy that sort of does all the stuff I can't do, and then we just like stick together. And so my first sort of big collaborator like that, my dude Raiden, he was a brilliant engineer and producer, and he just taught me a lot. And so anyway, that's where like most of my knowledge of like that's how I compose all my music now. It's just like I've spent so much of my life making music. And when I was in high school, I was the only drummer. I went to a little tiny country farm school, but there weren't that many farm kids there. And like there weren't that many jocks. Like the jocks were like 8 kids, and they were all in the Christian fellowship group, and they were like super nice and friendly. So it wasn't like a teen movie or anything like that where the jocks are all fucking homophobic and mean for no reason. But the school was mostly like fucking stoner dudes in Black Sabbath shirts that all played guitar. I had like 8 guitarists at my disposal at any one time, and my older brother played guitar too. So Um, Thank you, man. I appreciate you. Um, and stay tuned because there's oh shit, you play guitar? Yeah, man. I will say, sometimes I would look back on my music stuff and act like, and think like I failed or something or I gave up. Um, the truth is, I just spent so much time now. I've spent more time doing music than probably anything else in my life. Um, it just sort of ran its course. And I still make music. I make music pretty much every other day. I just started a new album tonight, which is why I'm fucking behind doing this. Um, and me and my buddy, who's been my long-term collaborator for about the past 5 years, we make music together all the time. Um, and I try to, I don't know, man. Again, going back to the thing of being in the gym, like you got to do this shit every day, and you kind of got to do it whether you want to or not. A lot of people think the shit's all playtime, and it is to a certain degree. When you're in the flow state, it feels like playtime. But if you want to do this shit in any kind of career capacity, like you just got to do it. I remember, when I was a rapper, I was fucking smoking so much weed, and I was just, I used to drink like a fucking fish, dude. And but it was like very like manageable because like I was always in, no, not a new rap album. It's more like it's basically like house music. It's very like girly sounding music and stuff like that. Um, but yeah, discipline. Because dude, the thing is, I'm not disciplined in any other. Oh, this channel's boring. Who the fuck are you, fucking bot? Get out of here. Get the fuck out, bro. Get the fuck out. How do I remove this guy? Put user in timeout. Yeah, fuck off. 24 hours. Go fuck yourself, gamer guy. And yeah, so I don't know, man. Discipline is important. Art is the only thing I've ever been able to really be disciplined with because I just have straight up ADD. I have like, and I know a lot of people like to just say that and throw it around and stuff like that, but like, I've really got it. And it's not ADHD. I have no problem sitting still. I just sit a little too still sometimes. And the executive dysfunction is real. And if I have stimulants of some kind, I'm perfectly normal and manageable and can go about my day. I really tried to fight it. I really tried to think of every other way around it and stuff like that. But the truth is, it's just like 10 times easier to just take some fucking Adderall. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. And so, but it also has served me well. My ADD served me really well in my music career because I have a really, really good, like, compartmentalized brain. I can keep a lot of different things sort of at the forefront at the same time and sort of switch between them. And that's why I was pretty good at booking and I was good at managing calendars. And, my whole life was just dates and remembering dates and stuff like that. I like to think that what I'm doing now is more important. Music has become very, it's very weird. It doesn't feel as good as it used to. And I don't mean personally, I just mean the business and the overall sort of zeitgeist of it feels very dark. A lot of dark energy in music that I don't like. Very digital. And I also don't like AI music. And I know that AI is like perfectly capable of making great music, but every time I've ever tried to mess with it, I'm just like, this feels gay. I don't like doing this. And so, that's basically what's going on with that. But as far as the discipline goes, like, yeah, you just have to do the shit kind of whether you want to or not. And it sucks sometimes. It doesn't feel good sometimes, but it will pay off. It really will pay off. So I just, and also I'm incredibly blessed and grateful that I have been given the type of brain that made doing some of this shit easy. There's a lot of stuff, art wise, that just and I know that that a lot of people envy that, and a lot of people wish that they had that. However, like everything in life, in the sort of the cycle of the samsara, um, all joy is followed by suffering, and we're trapped in the cycle of it. And so many, many times, more so now than ever, my artistic ability. Usually, I mean, I would go on DistroKid. I would just like put them on Spotify and everything like that. And then Bandcamp. I don't know if Bandcamp still exists, but I'm pretty sure all of my music is on Bandcamp for the most part. Um, but yeah, like I don't know, being an artist has really fucked me in a lot of ways, and being ADD has really fucked me. And it's I don't know. It was always that thing in school of like my teachers were like, yeah, like he's a pleasure to have in class. Like he's fine, but he just doesn't ever do his fucking homework. It's like, you know, I couldn't. There's just you can't make me care about something I don't care about. Like, you just can't. I don't have that thing in my brain that says like, this is important. You should care about that. And it's like I'll even know that it's important and know I should care about it. If I don't care about it though, it just doesn't happen. And I'm so envious of like when I see the people that are just like, oh, you could be making fucking $1,000 a day, drop shipping off a laptop and blah blah blah. And people will tell me like, well, you're smart enough to do that. And it's like, dude, I know I am. I'm not. Like, my brain doesn't work right. Like, I don't know how else to say it. My fucking brain just doesn't work right. And I don't know how, like, if somebody busts in, uh yo, I'll see you later, Chris. I appreciate you, bro. um if somebody busts in right now and like has a gun to my fucking family's head and it's like, make me a movie, or like make me an album, or cook me a 5-course meal, or whatever, like, it's like, boop, got you. I can put all the steps in line. I know everything to do. I've got it all in my head. It's what, and it's easy. It's done. But if somebody was like, fucking start drop shipping off a laptop or I'm gonna kill your fucking family, I'd be like, I'm sorry, I love you, I'll see you guys in heaven. Because it's like, I don't even know the fucking first thing about that. I don't know how people do that. I don't know how people have that discipline to just, I don't know. It's like if there's no sort of spiritual reward attached to it, I can't bring myself to do it. And that's not the same as like, last night I went to bed too late. Tonight I'm certainly going to go to bed too late. And I'm going to drag my ass out of bed at 7 in the morning and go do fucking landscaping. But like, that doesn't bother me. Like, that I'm okay with. Because it's like, when I get done mowing the yard looks better. I see the fruits of my labor. There was a yard, it needed mowed. I mowed it. Like, that is. But when it comes to like just selling products that I don't give a fuck about to people who I don't even fucking know, just to make money, like, there's something wrong about that to me. And I don't even think there is anything actually wrong with it. But I don't know, man. I just like I don't know how to do that shit. So I wish somebody would teach me too, because like I would love to just make like a good passive income. And I see all these fucking dorks out here that are just making money hand over fist, and they're not creative. They're not creative. They don't really add anything. They're just giving more people shit from Temu. But at least they're making a lot of fucking money. But I've just never, I don't know, man. I've never been able to just be that kind of person. And goddamn, I wish I was. I really wish I was. Not saying I would trade my ability for that, but man, it would be cool. I certainly know my girlfriend wishes I was. You know what I mean? Uh, See, and like, I don't know, man. I appreciate you saying that. And I'm always kind of like bewildered at when people have that takeaway from my stuff. Because to me, it's not super deep. I don't know. Sometimes I feel like I'm always holding back. Why don't I have her? I do have a girlfriend. I do. I've had a girlfriend for 4 years. We have a child together. And well, 5, yeah, 5, no, 4 years. Um, but yeah, so I don't know, man. Nope, not married. Have a girlfriend. Had a kid with her, and we're just playing fucking catch up. Yeah, man. Look, about the marriage and my girlfriend and shit. I've already said too much. I don't like talking about my family on the internet and stuff like that. Um, but it's just like, dude, it's such an extra stressful thing, and neither one of us are interested in even talking about it right now. And so, and it's not that we don't love each other. It's not that like, oh, things are terrible, so we don't want to get married. It's just like, I don't know, man. We're both trying to like build a stronger foundation for ourselves and our family before we even like start dealing with all that shit, dude. Because like, we got pregnant not long after we met, and we're still getting to know each other while we were having a kid together, and it was quite the process. And so we're trying to get everything more stable, and so yeah, it's a whole thing. But I've always kind of I'm not like a serial dater guy. Like, I've had plenty of periods where I was single and stuff like that, but being in music, it always kind of made uh, meeting women was not like a difficult thing when you're in music, which is cool. Which kind of brings me to my next point. Like, how old are you guys? I'm always like curious the age of people. Um, I always feel like all the people that watch me are like either my age or older, and get married before GTA 6. That's funny. Um, but I always wonder if like any Zoomers or Alphas watch my stuff. I feel like they don't. But oh, okay, 52, 55. Damn, really? Um, yeah, that's what I'm saying. Everybody's fucking older than me. That's crazy. Um, Shout out to the proto boomers in here, dude. That's awesome. Um, yeah, I don't know, dude. I've lived a weird life. I've lived a really fucking weird life. I've spent most of it. A thing that was really important to me, man, was being in control of my time. And I've worked a lot of wagey jobs. I'm working a wagey job right now, and I don't love it. Although to be honest with you, like just sitting outside, like being in the grass and fucking, smelling fresh air and stuff like that, and seeing big houses that I, want to aspire to be able to afford one day when I'm 79. Um, it's pretty good for my mental health, I think. But so I don't know, man. My whole life, though, has pretty much been in the pursuit of art, or sort of whatever my vision is at the time. And I'll choose different mediums because different mediums allow you to say different things. Different mediums allow you to express different ideas that the other mediums can't really express. And so, books aren't movies, and movies aren't paintings, and paintings aren't, poems. Like, they all do specific different things, and that's why I try to dabble in all of them, because you can convey ideas more effectively if you choose the medium more effectively. And so, with the cinematic conspiracy stuff, like AI video is like the chosen medium I've chosen to kind of dabble into in this. There's a lot of ideas that I was trying to portray, and I only could have done it in rap music and in hip hop. And so that's why I chose that. A lot of that music was about a time in my life when I was doing sort of hood rat criminal things with hood rat criminal people, and I was just out there living life, you know what I mean? And still to this day, some of the best times in my life, some of the darkest times. I lost a lot of friends when I was younger, to, like opiate addiction, heroin overdose. And the town I grew up in was like very much a Rust Belt town, and just got absolutely wrecked by opiates and the opioid crisis, whatever you want to call it. And it was on a main distribution road for the drug trade. So a lot of the stuff that was on the way up to the bigger cities, it would get dropped off near my town, and so just tons and tons of fucking drugs and crime and stuff like that. Uh, to my town's credit, though, they've cleaned it up quite a bit, and now that the Afghanistan war's over, we're not mysteriously heroin just disappeared, and now we have fentanyl. 49. God damn, dude. Am I a baby here? Am I the youngest person here? But rap music was how I talked about that stuff. It was easier to do that. So, I don't know, man. Life is weird. Life is a long journey with a map written by a fool. That was one of my favorite lines of dialogue ever. It's from the show Narcos. You guys are living vicariously through me. I don't know, man. I don't. So what? If you guys are like 50, yeah, Gen X, right? Yeah, you guys aren't boomers. Gen X people, what is with your obsession with telling people how hard you had it growing up? Every Gen X person on Twitter talks endless shit about like, we fucking walked to school and we had to fucking, like they act like, it's wild to me. Like Gen X people act like they invented playing outside. It's like, dude, I had a fucking corded phone too. My parents both worked, like I watched TV. And again, like I'm almost 40. And so like my oldest brother was sort of right on the cusp of being a Gen Xer. He was like the literal cutoff age for millennial. And so elder millennials got to benefit from the sort of cultural boom that Gen Xers had. I think if we're really being honest, like the one thing Gen Xers, nobody can talk shit to them about is the music. Like, just the whole, like, rock music was so good in the early 90s. It really was. And I'm like a Limp Bizkit guy. I'm like a through and through new metal guy. But, Alice in Chains and Soundgarden, fucking Candlebox, and, even the later era stuff, Collective Soul, a lot of the alternative music in the early 90s was great. Hip hop definitely got better as time went on. But, like, it's cool to me that Alice in Chains is classic rock. It's cool to me that like these are all and it's cool to me that Zoomers are trying to be like Gen Xers because like that's kind of what their parents are, and that's interesting to me. When I the last couple of years I was booking music, a lot of the Zoomers were they all dressed like Gen X kids. They made the fucking music that Gen X kids did. It was it's really interesting. So I don't know how I got on that, but yo, shout out to all. Wait 5 more years till you find yourself. Figure out if the baby deserves a family. Advice boomers gave us. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I don't know, man. Every generation gets fucked in their own way too. I'm like a thoroughbred through and through millennial. Millennial supremacist, hands down. I fuck with it. But I was born in the 80s still. You know what I mean? Like, so I really, really, really grew up with the internet. And it's interesting, the people that were born from like 85 to 95, their childhoods were like closer to their early childhood was like closer to their parents. And then their adolescence is like closer to Zoomers and Alphas. You know what I mean? Like, I understand a lot more Zoomer and Alpha stuff about the internet and from the internet and like internet culture shit because like I was the first generation that really got to grow up. And I don't mean that like we got to watch the internet grow up. It's we were in lockstep growing up with the internet. And so when I say we're analog still, well, see, that's my thing about Gen Xers. If you meet a Gen Xer artist, you're going to go into their basement and you're going to see, A, it's just looks cool as fuck. And B, they've got all this cool analog gear. They have way more shit than they need. Half of it's just there to look cool. But like, I love that about Gen Xers that like whatever their thing was, they did it. If you were a goth Gen Xer, you were the most fucking goth dude ever. If you were a metalhead dude, you were the most fucking metalhead dude. Like, they picked their costume and they wore it. And millennials were just a little bit different. We culture was different. Culture was a lot softer. Um, you know what I mean? It wasn't about being edgy in the sort of dark, brooding way, you know? And like all my favorite bands, with the exception of the Deftones, are pretty much Gen X bands. You know what I mean? Like Nine Inch Nails to me is like pretty, even though like, you know, they still have a career now, they're still like making music and I love their entire body of work. But like when they started, that was very Gen X energy. You know what I mean? Book Generations by Strauss. I've heard of the book. I don't fucking read a lot though, man. I got to be honest with you. And if you hear me talk about movies or other stuff, you'll understand why. It's because like I choose to study things I can watch. I'm a very visual learner, and my when I start to read books, my eyes dart around a lot, and I can't ever again like going back to the ADD thing. I have ADD really fucking bad, so it's hard, and I'll skip ahead for like I'll be reading something, then for some reason I'm just like, oh, let me read 3 paragraphs down and see if it makes sense, and I can put it together and just skip the whole thing. Like it's bad, dude. I don't know what to say. um, but yeah, the Generations though, and I also don't do audiobooks because it's like this is just a podcast. Like it's just the same thing as it. So and maybe I would be less retarded if I read more books, but I don't. So but I'm very interested in Generations and how that stuff kind of works because I think we trip out on it way more. Yeah, Korn did come out in '94. They were probably guy or email. What does guy or email mean? Um, yeah, I like to think I'm like. See, here's the thing about being smart, right? Um, I could like write you a 20,000 word paper on something on like a few different subjects. I know a lot of stuff. I have a lot of like pretty useless knowledge uh, stored in my brain, and I can articulate it. And most of the time, I can articulate it in a way that people that don't know much about it can understand. So, like, I have that kind of intelligence. I also racked up $4,000 in parking tickets and got my fucking car taken away and just lost it forever because I couldn't fucking pay all of the parking tickets off that I just ignored. So like I'm a retard too. Like that's what I'm saying. It's like the trade-off. There's just some stuff that I'm just like I was very reckless and stupid about it. But there's other stuff that like this type of shit when I'm just talking, when I'm trying to convey myself or express myself, like I have a high intelligence in that. And that's what I think is interesting about people is that like there are like in a way there are no stupid people. Everybody has a high intelligence in something. Like have you ever known like super white trash people that like aren't smart or talk about or like super ghetto people, whatever it is. Take any like American super poverty group, right? And they won't be able to fucking tell you like a long division equation and explain it. But like you ask them about the court system and how that works, and like these motherfuckers are like honorary legal assistants. Like it's crazy. They actually like they know so much about it and they get really really into it. And like I've known dudes that were like not that they chose it, but we're basically career criminals. Like they spent their life just going in and out of jail and making thousands off of crime and then losing it all and blah blah blah. But like these dudes have relationships with the cops. Like these dudes know the cops on a first name basis. If they see each other out in the street and the cops off duty and the dude's out of prison now, like they'll stop and talk to each other. And they'll be able to explain to you the whole complicated world of how courts and police and all that work because their intelligence, that's useful information to them. You know what I mean? Like it in some way it makes them belong, and in their world that's the intelligence they want to have. And so yeah, I appreciate the intelligence of the figure. Yeah, dude. I know, I do too. It's just like, and a few of them I did pay off, but honestly, I just, dude, I forgot about it because I had a kid. and I basically worked from home, so I really didn't drive a lot. So then, like, I don't know, man, I would just forget. I also used to like, again, I used to drink more and party more and stuff like that. And I just kind of like stopped all that stuff when my son was born, for the most part. And so, I mean, like, I kept drinking for a little while after, but I was never the type to drink at home. Uh, or like being drunk by myself is like a nightmare. Like, I don't ever want to do that. The only time I would do that is if I was like recording music or making an album. Alcohol was sort of my drug of choice when I was making music. Um, because I'm like an emotional drunk, not in a bad way either, not in like a I'm not like a downer drunk, but like I just feel things when I'm drunk, you know what I mean? And and I'm a happy drunk too. I like when I'm drunk, I don't know. I hate dark drunks. I hate people that get drunk and just like brood and get fucking mad. They're the worst. Like, those are the worst people, dude. I would rather deal with a fucking smack addict than like a shitty, mean drunk. There's just nothing I hate more in the world than that, honestly. Um, anyway, I don't even know how the fuck we got on this subject. I can tell you this: there's no way I'm gonna be able to make this poster tonight. I have to make 3 posters, and it's Lucky Larry related. Um, Yeah, like, I'm glad I quit drinking and doing all that shit too. Also, I didn't even really like quit drinking in the sense of like, oh, I have to stop, so I'm going to make a choice to stop. I just like, it served no purpose for me because it's like I had a baby, so it's like, oh, cool, I'm just gonna be fucking hungover, having to try and be a dad for the first time. Like, it just didn't work, and it's just expensive, and it's just like, I will say though, I miss it in the sense of like, I don't really miss drinking per se, but I miss like what I was doing when I was drinking. Um, and if I've really got to lock in and do some music stuff, and I've got to like go to a certain place, like, yeah, man, I'll take a couple shots to get me in that place. I was always a liquor guy. I don't like beer. I don't like I don't like shit. You got to just keep on drinking and drinking and drinking. If I'm trying to like get a little tipsy, because I've never had any problem like, some people like start taking drinks and then they like just can't stop until they black out or until they're like super drunk. I was very like precision with my drinking. I was like, okay, I can have like 2 3 shots of this or drinks of this and blah blah blah. What the hell program do you use to animate? The main video program I use is called Hailuo. It is or Minimax. They're like a joint Chinese U.S. company. I've pretty much used it most of the time I've been making my videos, and I like it because I make the images first, and then I animate those images in Hailuo. Um, yeah, not being able and same with like weed too, because I've like been quitting and sort of like coming back to weed, but then getting bored and not, like it's, I can tell like weed is on its way out. And I can tell that like my brain and my body is just so tired of all my stupid habits that they are just like naturally falling off for me. And I'm really, really grateful for that. And I've just really been, speaking of habits, I need to smoke a cigarette. I'm not probably ever going to quit cigarettes. I love them so much. I'm never going to not love them. And I don't know. We're a dying breed, so I think it's important that somebody carried the torch. And even though like nicotine's like all big now, nicotine's like the thing now, and it's so funny watching Tucker Carlson be like, well, nicotine it increases your testosterone, blah, blah, blah. And it's just really funny. I never thought I'd see the day, especially like growing up in the '90s, where basically like cigarettes are just evil, and Rob Reiner was on his little tear with that stuff. So, but yeah, I don't know. Yeah, it's the only nicotine is the only drug I genuinely can't imagine my life without. Like, it serves like 90 different purposes for me. And I don't know, man. There's just whatever Ayn Rand said about cigarettes and stuff like that. Oh, you're growing tobacco? That's cool as fuck. Um, yeah, with weed, man, like, I don't know. I just like, because I was in rap music too, like, everybody just smoked weed, everybody sold weed. It's been legal where I live for a long time, so like, you can just fucking smoke anywhere and it's pretty much fine. I think they just made it illegal in some capacity recently, like, which is cool. The legal weed thing got taken way too far because it was like, you know, it used to be like a signal, like a counterculture thing, right? Like, you'd like ask somebody you thought was cool, like, you smoke? And like now the HR lady smokes. You know what I mean? Now like everybody's got a little pen. And so I don't know. Yeah, the nicotine world too, because it's like more people use it than ever, but people just don't want to use cigarettes as much. And I was telling somebody today about, I went to Europe one time. I went to Italy and Germany, and the cigarettes over there were just immaculate. They just tasted so much better than American cigarettes. And it's true with a lot of food and stuff too. And I'm not talking like recipes and cuisine. I'm talking like the ingredients themselves. And it's like, I'm not gonna go on like a fucking, make America healthy again rant and stuff like that. But like, I don't know, man. The quality of everything in our country is just so much worse. Like, we really just don't value quality anymore, in most things. And like, I remember, this is so stupid, but just bear with me here. I remember 2008, I had just moved out. Like a week later, the fucking market, takes a shit, right? And I remember, combos, the snack combos, a little like cylindrical cracker with the stuff in the middle. When I was growing up, they were filled end to end. And then after the recession, one of the ends just had like a tiny little centimeter, or I don't know my measurements, but like not much. And then it like got to the point where they're like sort of half full. If you could take a Lunchable from 2007, I guarantee you every single slice of cheese and every single slice of ham or whatever was in the Lunchable was way thicker. And companies were just like, fuck, man, we really took a shit in the stock market, and we need to get something back. And well, if we take 1 centimeter off of each slice of ham and off of each piece of cheese, that will save us $28 million. And they're like, God damn it, Johnson, you got a raise. Like, that's how it is, man. Yeah, growing your own. I grew up with a garden. My mom was had quite the green thumb. She grew up on a farm. She loved planting stuff and growing stuff. She's got apple trees and peach trees and shit like that. And I don't really eat like a ton of fast food or anything anymore. I just absolutely abused my fucking body for so long with just the shitty food I ate when I was younger, and now it just like, it doesn't feel good. There's definitely some stuff that I indulge in, but for the most part, like, eating is just a fucking nuisance to me. I enjoy good food when it's there, but like every time I have to eat, I'm just like, oh my god, again. Like, I really wish there was just a pill to shut it off. Even though I love cooking, I was a sous chef for a little while, so like, I can talk about fucking food. Even on the last live I did last night, I started yapping about food. I'm not gonna do that this time. Um, See, that's the thing. Like, growing your own tobacco, doing all that shit. Like, I bet that's cool and all, but I just want shitty cigarettes. It's the same thing with like hamburgers. Like, I hate like bougie hamburgers. Like a $20, like, oh, it's got Wagyu fucking ground beef and a fried egg and all this other shit. It's like, they don't need that. I need a shitty, greasy, cheap, burger. And it's like, sometimes I just need a shitty cigarette. Shout out Camel. Wow. I'm really gonna get shadow banned now that I'm putting cigarettes on a live stream. Um, but it doesn't really fucking matter, does it? Because YouTube nuked everybody. Um, yeah, Tucker Carlson doing like the flannel shirt in the woods. I just like fishing and hunting thing is like so funny to me. And I love Tucker, by the way. Like, I think Tucker's one of the greatest. I would say he's the closest replacement to Rush Limbaugh that the right has had. Um, I grew up listening to Rush Limbaugh, and you know, I heard Glenn. I'm like a talk radio hipster. I heard Glenn Beck before he was like even like I heard Glenn Beck when he was still drinking. I remember one of the first things of Glenn Beck I heard was him, and I don't know if Stu was with him back then, but they were doing like the top 100 serial killers of all time. And like, it was like, I'm not gonna lie, dude, like Glenn Beck's super old shit was like mega edgy for talk radio or whatever. And, but he was like kind of like a no nonsense guy. And he would kind of rip into the callers. And so, the right kind of embraced him. But once he converted to Mormonism and quit drinking and stuff like that and really got into politics, that's when he became, the Glenn Beck that we know today. But I think Tucker, though, in terms of like someone who sort of captured the zeitgeist of things, in terms of like listeners, followers, and stuff like that. I mean, like Rush Limbaugh, like, dude, at his peak, he had like what 80, 90 million listeners every day. Like, I mean, like it's genuinely hard to wrap your head around. If he was included in like lists where like Howard Stern and Opie and Anthony and all them are, like he would hold his own. The golden microphone, fucking EIB. The shit was sick, man. And he could yap, dude. He could fucking yap. Um, so it'd be interesting. I should make a fucking Rush Limbaugh movie. That'd be interesting, dude. Like Private Parts, but with Rush Limbaugh. Damn, that could be cool. Powerful, powerful Rush Limbaugh. But I think that I would probably not, if he had like come out today, I don't know, people would just call him like a boomer Republican. Um, it'd be interesting to go back and hear what he said about Israel, but we don't have to go down that rabbit hole. But as far as like, yeah, how I do my images, whoever asked that uh, back, yeah, with his opiate addiction, that's right, he was big into pills. Um, Man, I'm so glad I never got the opiate bug. I've done like all of the opiates, but I have a really weak stomach for it, and it always just makes me feel queasy, and I get sleepy or I either get hyper energetic and like enraging mad. And I was like, either one of these options sucks. I don't like it. And so, and also just like seeing a bunch of my friends die because of it, definitely had an influence as well. Um, the time live stream's over, bro. Yeah, no, I agree, man. I have no like aspirations to be a live streamer, and this is just something fun to do because I basically spend most of my day like by myself, like when I'm doing my job and shit like that. So it's just nice to like, I don't know, I'm just interested in you guys. I want to know where you guys are from and fucking who you are, and um, yeah, I mean, Lord knows the train tried to get me to ride, but I just didn't want to. I didn't want to do it. I don't. And also, once I got serious, like my music career really, uh, it really saved me from a lot of bad stuff, and it really got me out. You know, there's that thing that you go through when you're young, and you have to, you gotta like re-choose your friends, kind of. You gotta, look at your circle and look who you're surrounding yourself with, and you realize that other people don't, have the same goals as you. And even people that when you were younger, I had a lot of friends that we made a lot of music together, you know what I mean? We would talk about, the dream and making it and doing all that. And then when it came time to put one foot in front of the other, um, they just don't do that. And once I started, I just didn't stop. And I just realized, one of my best friends died almost 10 years ago now. And it was like the first year I really was serious about music. And that was sort of the thing. I didn't really, I was like fucking 25. I didn't know how to like grieve or anything like that. And I just buried myself in work. And I buried myself in my career and my art. And that's just like where I was like, well, life is short. And the way I'm living my life is going to lead me down the same path that it did him. And he was like the one friend that always encouraged me to keep making stuff. He was like my biggest fan. And so that just sort of broke me and got me into doing this. And I was a lot more ambitious back then. Like now that I'm a dad, a little bit of the issue, Isaac Cappy story. Oh, dude, I've got Isaac Cappy plans. Don't you worry about that, buddy. I have got Isaac Cappy plans. I am so fascinated by that story. Thank you for getting me off of my depressing, past track as well. Isaac Cappy actually will be showing up in late antiquity, and but I've got outlines. I've got sort of an outline for an Isaac Cappy movie. I think I've got a really interesting angle that I could take with it. And God, what a fascinating guy. Because to me, what's really fascinating is the idea that Isaac Cappy actually killed himself as a way to like get people to look into the stuff. You know what I mean? Like the idea that it's a whole sort of hoax on his part is really, really interesting. Um, because with conspiracies, there's always a boogeyman at the end of it, right? If like the mystery is like, oh, who's behind the conspiracy? Eventually you find out. And the more conspiracies you get into, the more you realize like all the boogeymen are, I don't know, all the boogeymen are the same. It's either Illuminati, fucking Israel, fucking, whatever. And to me, I'm always trying to kind of think of angles that it's like weirder, like if, things like, they say fiction is, or truth is stranger than fiction, right? So let's say, the Illuminati controlling everything, the conspiracy thing is the truth. It's like there's something weirder than that. There's something weirder, like, a conspiracy that really fucking, yeah, man, just email me sometime. Like, I'm always down to talk to people, man. Fucking email me, timelinejunkiefilms@gmail.com. But I've been thinking a lot about it, and I'm gonna make a movie about it, or some video, something. But I want to explore the idea of like, to me, the most terrifying conspiracy is that the deep state is real, but the deep state is correct. And that they know something we don't. And, let's say like depopulation, right? They're putting all this shit in the food. They're making people not have babies. They're turning people trans. They're, doing COVID, endless forever wars, because they have to control the population of the earth, right? They have to, like, it's growing too fast and they got to cut it down because they know, something's going to happen. I'm really interested in the idea of the deep state acting out of benevolent motivations. They still do all the destructive shit that us little people see, and we're like, oh my God, this is terrible. But to them, they're like, yes, plebe, you're on a lower level. You can't see what we can see. Somebody told me a long time ago that it's like, the higher up you go, the further out you can see. And so these people that really run everything and control everything, they also understand threats that we don't. Like they see threats, if they know about the alien shit, if they know about interdimensional shit, if they know about demonic shit, they see threats that are far more difficult to combat than like us seeing like, oh, that's a corrupt police officer, it's a corrupt politician, that's a corrupt corporation. You know what I mean? They're seeing stuff that like we just simply can't handle. They're seeing stuff that we simply just don't know how uh, to deal with, and we don't have the tools or the means. And when I think about stuff like social credit and I don't know, like social credit score stuff's really interesting to me because like, what if like if you were in the government, right, and you were given the job of like, okay, you have billion people, 2 billion people, especially if it's like in America, right, 400 million people. Most of them have guns. Their education, by and large, was dog shit. They have been ingesting strange chemicals for 3 generations now. Um, in their food and in the water. They, largely motivated by money. And if they're not motivated by money, they're motivated by complete freedom and, sort of having their own castle and all that. We're a very unruly and, wieldy population. Like, what do you do as that population just grows and grows and grows and gets more aggressive and more impoverished and more uh, retarded? Like, what is the solution for that? Other than like, oh, okay, well, we have to figure out a way to control every single person's money. Because if we can control their money, we can control their travel. And then we can, okay, if we can stop them moving around, that's one thing. But then we have to be able to control what they can buy, if they can buy guns or not. We have to be able to find a way to put them into categories too. So we have to come up with a score or a grade. Like the social credit score stuff is all super logical. If you're tasked with, we have to keep this society from fucking imploding in on itself and everybody, murdering everybody. And, now I don't think social credit scores will ever be implemented in America. I genuinely don't. I'm really not that worried about it. There will be attempts and they will be smaller and they will be more specific and in some cases probably insidious. But a flat out like CCP social credit score, it's just so many Americans wouldn't have a good score. It wouldn't work, especially liberals. Like liberals just would not have good social credit scores. And so I don't want a social credit score, by the way. That's what I'm saying. I'm not saying I want this. I'm saying from the perspective of the people, because a lot of people that are in government, they do just believe like, well, like I'm different and, I know better. I know what's better for the dumb rats downstairs. You know what I mean? And a social credit score is just a very logical thing to come to. But the idea that like the social credit score could be the thing that actually saves our society. Because then think about the result though. Like, let's say after a few years, right? Okay, all the dudes, all just the absolute retard criminals that are just violent pieces of shit, they either get executed or just locked away permanently. Then you have like all the people that aren't really criminal, but like, vagrants, the homeless people, whatever, they just have low social credit scores and they become sort of contained into these like Skid Row kind of slum areas and they can't really travel anywhere outside of that. And then everybody else who is on the fence but smart enough to know better, they eventually are going to be like, fuck man, I guess it's just easier to like not jaywalk. And they start following all the rules, right? Because it's just too fucking hard to even live your life normally unless you follow all the rules. The end result is you have a bunch of people that follow the rules. You know what I mean? Like in China, you see all fucking neon buildings and all the shit they want you to see, but like outside of that it's a very different country. And they also don't tell you about the amount of people taking shit on, shits on the streets in China. because their social credit score was low, so they can't use public restrooms. Like, that's a whole thing too. It's about controlling every avenue of your life, because when you have that many people, you can't afford to do anything in a case by case basis. And then when you take, put AI on top of that, social credit score for old cowboys needs to be a skit. That's funny. That's a really good title, actually. um, but I don't know. I don't think it'll happen in America. It's too against our spirit. Even now, with whatever, however globalized you think we are, or just how pussified or whatever you want to call it, we're not there yet. It's not going to happen. Now, someplace like England, England's like an isolated little island, and they pride themselves on being like, good English. I don't know what the fuck they pride themselves on anymore, but you know what I mean. Like, the actual English culture was very much like, oh, put on the suit, cheerio. And I will say, Englishmen wear the hell out of some suits. They've got some cool suits over there. But it is interesting to me. The idea is interesting of looking at things from the perspective of like, okay, if I'm the deep state, because I have to. I'm writing stories about this shit. And I was talking about this last night, but like, if I'm writing about humans, I have to humanize them, no matter what the human is. And because it's the humanization, it's the answer to everything. It unlocks everything. Like, I think Trevor Noah's possibly maybe the worst replacement for Jon Stewart on The Daily Show they could have picked. I think he's maybe made me laugh 0.5 times in the 20 fucking years he's just been around. But I do enjoy hearing him talk about things. He's a very smart guy, and he said something that made a lot of sense to me, which was like, racism never holds up to contact. And now, of course, I know plenty of people who, like, they grew up in a white kid in a super black neighborhood, and they got the shit beat out of them every single day, on their way to school. So they don't like black people now. That's one example of like this not working, right? And that's funny. And but the idea of like, well, you meet racist people that have never had any contact with other races, and it's like, well, all black people are fucking whatever, except my neighbor down the street, John. He let me borrow his lawnmower one day. He's a pretty cool dude, actually. He's one of the good ones. And that idea, you could extrapolate that beyond race or anything else, to whatever, subcultures or subdividers you want to say. But that's always been interesting to me. And that's always been a device that I've sort of used to, like with Letterhead and talking about Joe Biden. I really fucking hated Joe Biden. And I'll get into the reasons why on some other thing. But I had a lot of beef with Joe Biden, and but it was still important for me to be like, what brings a person to this point? What, because it's like their childhood, their desires, their fears, their ambitions, their inadequacies, like all of these things matter. All of these things make up a person, and they answer all the questions. And so with the deep state, the Illuminati, whatever, like I think about like, what would it be like? It's so easy to just make them a cartoon villain and to think, but I do believe a lot of these people, the billionaires, whoever, as bad as their deeds might be, I think, it's like the old phrase, the road to hell is paved with good intentions. And I believe that, but it's interesting to explore the good intentions. That's what I'm fascinated by. What inspired the good intentions? What inspired them to want to do better and to get into government and all that? You know what I mean? There's a movie called Charlie Wilson's War. I don't know if you guys, hey, what's up, Vex? Vexed Emperor, that's a sick name. Charlie Wilson's War, Tom Hanks, Philip Seymour Hoffman, sort of a dog shit movie for the most part. I think Aaron Sorkin wrote it, actually. Like, just so bizarre. It's just a bizarre, weird movie. Um, fuck, where was I going with this? I just had a reason to talk about this stupid ass movie. Oh, there's a scene in the movie where Charlie Wilson, who's like this like sort of hick Democrat from Texas, uh, who he fucks strippers and drinks, and he's like sort of misogynist, but god damn it, he helped us kill the Russians, and he helped give the Mujahideen fucking Stinger missiles and shit, and so they made a movie about it. And I want to say that Philip Seymour Hoffman plays John Kiriakou. I'm almost 100% that Philip Seymour Hoffman plays John Kiriakou in the movie. Now I got to see, or somebody out there look up who Philip Seymour Hoffman's character is in Charlie Wilson's War. But there's a scene when Charlie Wilson is talking to one of his staff, and he's telling the story of why he fell in love with democracy, and it was because this politician, this congressman in his district, had hit his dog with his car, and he never made any amends for it or whatever, and or he killed his dog or something like that. And Philip Seymour Hoffman, Charlie Wilson's War. Yeah, who did he play in that movie? Because I think it's John Kiriakou, like the fucking podcasting guy now. So anyway, he's telling this story about like, well, so what I did was I went down to the poor black neighborhood, and I picked up as many black people as I could, and I drove them all the way across town to the polls where they put them too far away so the black people can get. And before they would get out, I would tell them, now, I don't want to influence your vote, but that man killed my dog. And then, the guy lost the election, and he's like, and that's when I fell in love with democracy. And it's like, okay. Like, so, but it spoke volumes about like the Democrat mentality of like, well, if you just get the blacks riled up, then they'll do whatever you want, and it's democracy. It's like, it was so fucking bizarre. Just a strange movie, but there are some actually really good scenes in the movie. I mean, like, it's one of Philip Seymour Hoffman's better performances, I would say, actually, kind of one of his funnier ones. And Tom Hanks, I guess, is good in it, but God, just a fucking bizarre movie, man. They'll never make one like that again. So, yeah, I've watched a lot of movies, dude. I see a lot of movies. I've got a couple that I want to cross off the list this week. I haven't seen Project Hail Mary yet. I hear it's good. I really love the cinematographer, Greg Fraser. His cinematography is, oh, okay. I thought Gus Avaktos. I don't know. I got to see if that's like a real guy or not. Because he was like CIA guy, and he was Greek. He was talking about like Greek shit. And so movies though, man, if anybody is watching this, and yeah, he was good. I haven't even seen The Master, but I've watched like a lot of YouTube clips of like his scenes. And I mean, like, Philip Seymour Hoffman was just electrifying, man. He had such a presence. You had to watch. You wanted to see what he was doing. If there's multiple people in the frame, you're staring right at him. He was such a powerful actor. His son's a really good actor too. I really liked Licorice Pizza, even though it's kind of, I'm not even going to get into all that, but anybody out there who wants to make anything cinematic, like, please just fucking watch movies, man. Watch as many movies as you possibly can. It's the quickest and best way to learn. All movies are just stealing from the movies that came before them. It's just what it is. Like, directors like Quentin Tarantino and George Lucas, like, they're showing you the movies that they loved through the scenes that they arrange and stuff. There's this great analysis. It's 2 like 4-hour long videos by a guy named Rick Worley, breaking down like the genius of George Lucas and the prequel trilogy, and just sort of his mentality and where he came from, and his powerful George Lucas, bro. People give him a lot of shit. I know a lot of older folks don't like the fucking prequel trilogy. I was quite literally the target demographic for it. So it holds a special place in my heart. But it's also, looking back now, it's just like we will never, ever in a million years get films that weird and ambitious that are at that level. We just won't. We'll get good Star Wars movies. We'll get good Star Wars shows. Like Andor is like one of the best things I've ever seen in my life. But it doesn't have that weird George Lucas thing. And the reason that it's weird when George Lucas does it is because a lot of times you're watching movies from the 30s, you're watching movies from the 50s. You know what I mean? You're watching all of his old influences and these weird experimental films that he was into because he was like a San Francisco hippie guy. And, it all comes out in this new sort of thing that's just like beaming out at you. And that's what cinema really is. All directors are doing that. All directors, when they go and they have a scene in a movie, I would, dollars to donuts, 9 times out of 10 they are just referencing one of their favorite scenes, and they're like, oh cool, I like that scene, I want to do something like that. And so with Letterhead, I could go through and talk about all the influences to that. And I'm probably going to at some point. I am going to do the commentary of all of it. But, if I'm making a movie in a certain genre, something like Letterhead, I went back, I took 2 weeks or so to watch like every political thriller or comedy, in the last 60 years or whatever, because that just helps me. It's really important to understand the tropes of a genre going into it, because a lot of them are tropes for a reason. A lot of them are good tropes to have, and a lot of them are tropes you want to avoid. And the reason you want to avoid them is because they're oftentimes invisible and unavoidable. And so, shrugged off Star Wars. Yeah, like exactly. It's like Flash Gordon. Indiana Jones is like, what's that one movie? It had fucking, it's like Kirk Douglas's dad. It's like the fucking like proto Douglas. Um, you know, that's what's cool about it though. All of my stuff that you see, I mean, I could tell you all the references for it, and a lot of the references are really okay. Give you an example of what to avoid. Okay. Um, let's say, easy one is like horror movies. Um, a trope in horror movies. I mean, shit, they made a movie franchise out of horror movie tropes in Scary Movie. You know what I mean? Like the idea of like, oh, we all got to split up, and that, because that's just half the time when people are doing that, it makes no fucking sense whatsoever in the story, and there would be no reason that anyone with half a brain would do that. But the writer just needed a device to get everyone separate so the killer could kill them. So like that's a trope for a reason. Um, Quentin Tarantino's movies are based on tropes. The Mexican standoff type thing, the revenge, the betrayed assassin. There's all types of things that are tropey. The big sort of like standoff battle between like the bride and the crazy 88. But as far as what you want to avoid, it really just comes down to, your vision is cool. I'm glad that you like that, because she's actually, right now I'm in the process of like pitching Lucky Larry to like studios and trying to get it like made for real with like real actors and shit like that. And not like a live action version, but like real actors voicing the characters. And Deborah's character is actually going to get pulled to the forefront, because when I wrote the story, I just got a lot of good reactions to Deborah, and I really liked her as a character. But I also realized like, I don't really have like a good person in the show other than her. Everybody else in the show is kind of like a scheming piece of shit. So I needed at least one character to be sort of the moral center of the story if I wanted to make it a little, yeah, go ahead and email me, man. If I wanted to make it a little more palatable for the normies and whatnot. So, yeah, with Lucky Larry, man, I'm excited. we're we're still in that phase where a lot of things could change. Um, hook 'em horns, Deborah. I love when people notice stuff like that, man. It really just fucking it makes me so happy when people notice the weird little things that I put in there. There's so many things that I think are funny, but like other people just don't get it. And I don't have I like a great sense of, I mean, I think I've got a good sense of humor, but when it in my writing, I'll just like kind of throw funny stuff in there out of nowhere. Even with Letterhead, like there's a bunch of moments in Letterhead that I think are fucking hilarious that don't really land for other people the way they do for me. Um, and I'm currently making a comedy, like a live action comedy movie with a buddy of mine who's a pretty successful content creator. And, you know, I've been very blessed to be around a lot of comedians, and I've spent a lot of time in stand up comedy. Not doing it myself. I don't think I would ever try it, but I've been friends with a lot of comedians and worked with a lot. And, been in those rooms and on sets of projects where the ideas are just firing and it's just a bunch of people trying to one up each other and find what the joke is and find the bit. And I think I have a decent understanding of what's funny, but there's just times when I don't know, there's little tiny things that I think are really really funny. um uh Got the end, couldn't stop laughing. I mean, even like the Alex Jones thing, or the like the gay frogs thing. Like stuff like that's hilarious to me. Like the idea of like like the Ribbit Room. Like I don't know. I think that's fucking hilarious. Like that it's just a gay club, like a '90s gay club, but for frogs. It's so funny. And like, but I don't know. And also like I got a lot of good feedback about the scene with the boat and that had too many bombs on it. And the funniest thing is that's a literal true story that actually happened. The USS Cole bombing probably wouldn't have happened had those guys succeeded, but they put too many bombs on the boat and it sank. And it's like Elmer Fudd, like Wile E. Coyote shit. That's like Looney Tunes shit. That's fucking hilarious to me. And so I tried to ride the line, and because I don't want Lucky Larry to be like all jokes all the time. The jokes are important, but I really, the finished version, when you see whatever it ends up actually being, the main thing I want it to be is really sincere, and I don't want I don't know, I don't want it to come off as like a winky, like, oh, jet fuel can't melt steel beams. I'm not trying to do that, man. Like I'm really trying to make something that's going to stick with people, and people are going to be like, "Wow, that was special," and it made me feel things about 9/11. Didn't just make me, um, yeah, man. Yo, that came from. I'll tell you what. Um, that came from my brother. Joined the military. Uh, Not long after 9/11, a few years after. And I remember, he was like, all right, I'm going to read the Quran. I'm going to, like, he knew he was going to war. And he was a very smart dude, one of the smartest people I've ever met. And he had this book that was all these writings of Osama bin Laden. It was like the letters to the USA and stuff like that. And it was about Al Qaeda. And the sort of main conceit of the book was, you may not take these people serious. You may view, brown people in the desert as little chess pieces that simply react to our stimulus. But like, no, dude, these are intelligent people, grew up in much harder circumstances with their own desires and goals and religions. And, like they are to be taken seriously. And that really, really stuck with me. And I hate the flippant way that Hollywood is always, just our society in general, talks about people in the Middle East. It just fucking pisses me off, man. I'm not one of those people that goes around saying like third worldist. You know what I mean? Like if you do, more power to you. It's not like it offends me, but it's one of those things where it's like, again, going back to what I was talking about, types of intelligence. You know what I mean? And uh, they created this type of warfare that couldn't, when you look at like insurgency and counterinsurgency, it's like they're like these yin and yang, Joker, Batman, unstoppable force meeting an immovable object type thing. And that was always fascinating to me. And also, there's a scene in Inglorious Bastards, like with the Bear Jew when he fucking hits the dude with the bat. There was that moment where he puts the bat on the metal on the dude's chest, and he goes, "What'd you get that for? Killing Jews?" And the guy goes, "Bravery." And it's like, that was such a cool moment. That was such a cool moment because the hatred was still there. You still knew he was a Nazi or whatever. You know what I mean? You wanted to see him get hit with the bat. But Quentin Tarantino gave that dude the dignity of at least his own perspective. And so that stuck with me. And I wanted to, um, I don't know, nothing was funner to me than like portraying like, well, the Muslims, you see, they're like that because they're secretly gay. It's like, that's like the lowest hanging fruit ever. Or like, oh, they just really fucking envy our strip clubs. It's like, oh God, shut the fuck up, dude. That's not at all what's going on. But those are the lies that had to be told because it couldn't be, well, it's because we support Israel. It's like, that's what it was. Because I'll tell you what, you go and watch a lot of those terrorist videos and those declarations where they all go, "Oh, I tell you this." Uh, they're not talking down on Jesus Christ like Benjamin Netanyahu did. I don't ever hear them shitting on Jesus. I hear them saying death to Israel and death to America for protecting Israel, and invading holy lands and stuff like that. And that was a big part of Lucky Larry too. And I really didn't get to go into it as much, but the entire genesis of like the Gulf War, uh, King Faoud kicking Osama bin Laden out, Dick Cheney sort of winning the bid. Like Osama bin Laden and Dick Cheney were both sort of lobbying to Saudi Arabia of who would get to protect Saudi Arabia if Saddam decided to roll all the way in, because Saudi Arabia didn't have the military back then that they do now. And so obviously the USA won the bid and we went in and did our thing, but that was a really jaded Osama bin Laden. That was a big part of why he was like, all right, fuck y'all then, if you're gonna go with these fucking Americans. And started bombing shit in Saudi Arabia, started helping all the, he started, the Mujahideen were fighting in Yemen, and he started his holy war. Then he had to hop across the lake to Sudan. Yeah, exactly. Who can put on a better show? That's exactly it. Because Saudi Arabia had to signal to the world and, the Middle Eastern world and the Muslim world that, like, hey, we have the big bad Americans on our side. We have a more vicious dog than you do. And we are a vicious dog. And because the other thing is, too, the Gulf War was a show. It was a giant show. We got to show off our new missiles and how fast everything could go, and fucking, go on the operations room on YouTube and look at his Gulf War videos that show you just literal every unit, every movement from every unit and what they did. He put together an entire recreation, top down, minute to minute of the entire thing. And it's like unbelievable how bad we whipped their ass. Like, it's fucking unbelievable. Like, Iraq did not stand a chance. But we never got to go the full way. And, I want to know about the mechanizations of that. But anyway, to your original point, thank you for acknowledging that too, because that is something I try to go out of my way to do. Not to like, I'm not trying to like glaze Al Qaeda and be like, oh, they're brave, brilliant warriors that, blah, blah, blah. But to them, they are, like I forget who said it. I think it was like David Mamet or somebody, but it's like a good writer never judges their characters. You can't put moral judgments on your characters. That's why woke stuff sucks. Like they're telling you who the good guy and the bad guy is. You know what I mean? And I've definitely have plenty of motivations for Osama bin Laden and stuff that makes fun of him too. Like, but it's a more personal stuff. It's not. I don't know, man. I don't like. Maybe this is just like millennial lib shit mentality of me or something like that. Maybe I'm too brainwashed, but like, I don't like making fun of other people's religions. I don't mind talking about them and what I disagree with, but to belittle and just shit on someone's religious beliefs, uh, it I just don't think it's very productive. I don't, and it's not that you have to tolerate their beliefs either. There's nothing wrong with disagreeing with their beliefs or saying like, well, I think this is wrong. But when you're going out of your way to mock them, like that's a really good way to cut to the core of somebody and make them be like, oh, okay, well, fuck you for life. I guess I'll drive a truck full of explosives into your building. Like, you know what I mean? Not saying that like, oh, you shouldn't draw pictures of Muhammad. Those guys deserve to die because they did that. No, that's fucking ridiculous. I'm not saying that. Um, but me personally as an artist, I don't want to do it. It's low hanging fruit. I do have, some. I have like one funny sort of making fun of Islam thing in the show, and it's really fucking funny too. Like I think when people see it, they'll be like, "What the fuck? How did you do that?" But beyond that though, I don't. People are more interesting than that. People are, people's faith is interesting. You know what I mean? People's religious to it. Who wants to hear a Melania Trump joke? I want to hear a Melania Trump joke. She never knew Jeffrey Epstein. Ha ha ha. Are you actually saying a joke or? Saul is based on David Rubenstein, who was I want to say CEO of the Carlyle Group, or one of the partners of the Carlyle Group. Yeah, he was very much a glue character to the Bin Laden family, to the Bush administration. He's still around too. He has a podcast. He was the head of the Kennedy Center for a long time. Owns the Baltimore Orioles. Sort of a philanthropist, billionaire guy, and very, very interesting guy. But I didn't want to get sued by him, so I didn't want to use his real voice or name. And he already looks exactly like him, so that's also probably going to change, especially if we get the person that we're looking to cast to play his character. But I kind of wanted one character that I could use as a composite character, really for plot purposes, to make the thing just. It's so much story to tell, dude. Like I'm trying to make as many fucking conspiracy people happy as I can with this shit. And it's like, dude, it's just a lot. It's a lot to fit into it. There's a reason there's, 800 hours of 9/11 documentaries out there just because it's just so much fucking information. And I'm trying to make it information but entertaining, and then in a way that's not just, like I'm reading from a textbook the whole time. It's got to be characters saying it. It's got to be images showing it. It's like a whole thing. But I'm getting a good handle on it. But having a character like Saul that we don't really have to worry about sticking to, a realistic thing, and we can kind of make them, I don't know, it's just easier to have a character like that. It really makes the other characters that are real people that we have the context for, it sort of helps them move around better too. But yeah, he's based off David Rubenstein, and I would love like one of my like weird dreams is like the show or movies come out and it's like a big hit or whatever, but like I would love to do like an audio commentary track with Larry Silverstein. Like I would want to see if I could get Larry Silverstein. Like I would send him a copy, and because there's a lot of days that I really doubt he actually was involved. There's a lot of days where I'm just like, I've seen a lot of Larry Silverstein stuff, man. And, it's like some days it's like 50-50 with me. Most days I'm like, nah, he knew something. Like, I'm sorry, like he knew something. But also I'm biased because I'm literally writing a story about what it would be like if he did know something. But when it comes to, I don't know, there's just times where it's just like you can go so far in with the conspiracy shit that it's just like, man, I don't think it's all a fucking made up conspiracy because it's just the manpower that it would take. But then all you got to do is think about that for 5 seconds, and it's like, well, you can get a lot done in 40 hours every week. If you're making like 100 grand a year, like people at the CIA or whatever, I'm sure they make more now or whatever, but um, in 40 hours a week, and all your job is to just do this thing or that thing. Yeah, and then you multiply that by tens of thousands. You're also like plucked either out of high school or college because you're so out of this world fucking intelligent in these specific ways, and then you have millions of dollars of training to heighten that, and then you have billions of dollars of equipment and databases and stuff like that to do that thing. Yeah, it then becomes a lot more realistic. Like Penn Jillette, the magician guy, said like all magic is basically the same trick, which is that normal people can't believe somebody would dedicate this much time to something this weird and specific. And when I heard that quote, it blew my fucking mind because I was like, oh my God, like that's everything, right? I've had people tell me like, dude, what you do is amazing. Like, like it's a mystery to them that I do what I do, but it's just like, yeah, man, I uh I do this every single day. I've done this and thought about this for over 25 years. I do it every single fucking day. Never stopped. I hate any days that interrupt it. I hate holidays. I hate birthdays. I never stop. I don't want to take breaks. I just want to do this thing all day, every day because I'm building to something. I'm going out, getting a rock, putting it on the pile of rocks, and I'm trying to slowly build a mountain. And that's what a lot of these long-term psyops and long-term operations are doing. You know what I mean? That's what they are, is they're a project, because everybody thinks the Central Intelligence Agency's main goal is to just be the NWO and control the world. They don't want to control the world. They want to know the world. They want to have intelligence. That's what they're there to do. They gather intelligence. They want to know. So when they're doing MK Ultra shit or studying demonic possession or fucking remote viewing or astral projection, their whole mentality is just like, well, if we don't, the Russians will do it. So we have to. If we don't, China's going to do it. So we have to. You know what I mean? Like, that's their job. It's their job to get that intelligence. And we're never going to like the means because the means are evil. Like the means are the ends justify the means. Yeah, the means. The means that they get this information with, it's evil. And when people talk about what soldiers and what, people in government sacrifice for their country, I often think about how many people in the government, it's like, dude, like, you sacrificed your soul for the government. Well, not even for the government, but for your country and your countrymen. Like, I don't know, man. It's so lazy. It's so fucking lazy to think that just everybody that works in the federal government is a fucking piece of shit that just wants to oppress people. It makes no sense. It makes fucking zero sense. Things would be so much worse if that was the case. But what you have is systems that have over time grown to benefit sociopaths and psychopaths. You know what I mean? And then the psychopaths start kind of looking for other psychopaths. And, but because the system itself was trying to do good, But, it's the same thing as like, well, if we ban guns, the only people that will have guns are people that don't care about gun laws. You know what I mean? It's the same thing with people in the government. Like, they're like, well, we made all these rules internally so people don't become corrupt and, go off the reservation or whatever. But it's like, yeah, but you're talking about guys that don't follow the rules. So, like, like, there's ultimately no limit to a psychopath. There's no limit to what they'll do. The only limit is the limit they put on it of like, okay, I've reached as far as I can because maybe I'll get caught if I go any further, or maybe I'll get killed if I go any further. It becomes about self-preservation. And so, but the people that are like, well, I got to follow the rules because I'm here to do good. And if I don't do good, I'm setting a bad example for the other people that are here to do good. And then they follow the rules, but the rules end up fucking them because the rules end up being written and rewritten by psychopaths. That's why you never change the system. The system doesn't change. The system will change itself for preservation, but no one person ever changes the system. It just doesn't work. The system changes you. And so, that's why I just don't, I'm in the camp of like, yeah, there are no political solutions. There are no political solutions to the problem we're in. Fucking trust me, dude. There's none. There are political solutions in your neighborhood. There's political solutions in your state, maybe. But nationally, the federal government, the problem that thing is fucking causing, there's no political solution, bro. There's no political solution. And by the way, there ain't really a violent solution either. Like, there's no way of like, well, we get the pitchforks and the guns and our ARs and get the fucking gravy seals down here. It's like, dude, it's not gonna happen. It's not gonna happen. Number one, not even like the conversation of like, well, the government's got drones and tanks. It's like, that's not the issue. The issue is, what do you target? If you're some revolutionary militia type force, what do you target? What are your targets? Are you doing guerrilla style tactics? Are you trying to, hit their military installations? Are you trying to wear theirs out in a war of attrition style thing? And to what end? Everybody talks about this second American Revolution, and it's like, okay, cool. I have no doubt that you guys could get the guns together and go and cause a bunch of havoc and kill people and fuck up the supply chains and cause, all types of damage. But like, the first American Revolution worked because they already had a government waiting for them on the other side. You know what I mean? Like, they started rebelling, but very quickly they realized, like, oh shit, we're kind of retarded, and this will all fall apart if we don't become united. That's the only way we're going to beat the British. And so they had the Continental Congress, and they sat down, they hashed it out, and they said, well, if we're going to go to war, this is the government we're going to go to war for. This is the system that we're going to be willing to put our lives on the line for. What would that Continental Congress be today is my question. What would be the new government waiting on the other side? Or, like, there's not any augmenting this. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, I wanted to plan a video for it of, like, who would be in the new Continental Congress. Like, would it be Elon? Fucking Dan Bongino? But, like, who would be the thinkers? I'm sure Curtis Yarvin's dorky ass would be in there. That's the only way a revolution would work, is if we had a system of government waiting on the other side for us to implement once, the oppressor is gone. But the problem is, the oppressor is here. It's not some enemy far away. It's here. It's in every state. It's in every major city. And like, they control everything. Like, what do you do against that? What do you do? And so maybe I'm just sort of a doomer accelerationist, but it's like, the only thing you can do with that is just wait for it to die. Like, you wait for it to die. Because eventually, like, the machine will run out of fuel. People will get so poor, the government will spend so much money that it's just like, well, we've run out of money to steal from you. It would be grifted by technocrats. Well, first of all, it would be technocrats. Like all the dudes, like the founding father dudes, a lot of those dudes were just like the Elons and Jeff Bezos of their day. You know, they were cool as fuck. They were. People looked up to them. Not all of them, but a lot of them were just like they were dressing well and they were doing their fucking. They had swag. They had that Victorian swag. But I don't know. I don't buy it. I don't buy any of the second Civil War, second American Revolution shit. I don't buy any of it. I could see a race war, sort of like immigrants versus natives thing happening far before I would see like Texas and fucking whoever trying to fight the federal government or secede. It's just the system's way too intertwined. Our society's too intertwined. And there's not enough geographical difference. Florida is definitely different from, New York and all that, but like everybody's got the internet now, you know? And so don't get me wrong, they're trying to divide us across every line that they can, but it just doesn't, I don't know. I feel like because so many people are kind of waiting for the Civil War thing to happen, it'll never happen because nothing ever happens. And that's also why, but also we can't stay in this current state that we're in. I think that I made a video a while back on my YouTube called Something Big is Coming. I think that's what it's called. And, I do believe that. I believe we are reaching the end of the rope, so to speak, with money, with like social media and technology, education, and we're close to whatever the sort of cliff is going to be where the next society, whatever the new society, endorphin port, you know what I mean? Fucking whatever the new way of life is going to be for the next 1,000 years is going to be born in the next 10 years. Because things are just going to, the billionaires are all building bunkers. The government is like, trying to figure out they're trying to build a ballroom. How often do I browse poll? Never. I don't like message boards. I hate that style of it. It's so confusing to me. It fucking pisses me off. I hate Reddit, hate 4chan. I just look at stuff that people have screenshotted, and if I absolutely have to get into something and I'm doing research, I will. But no, it's a fucking shitstorm on there. I hate it. There's so many people on the internet that just have mastered sounding smart. Especially millennials. Millennials are so fucking dramatic in the way that we talk. And I'm super guilty of it too. The way we talk and we write. It's so over the top. And sort of stream of consciousness. And yeah, I don't know. I also don't give a fuck about politics anymore. Like, I really do not give a shit. I pay attention to my state politics and local politics and stuff like that. Like, to a degree, I guess. But, like, federal politics, I don't give a fuck, dude. It's like sports to me. It's just like, tell me who won. Cool. They won. I've never seen it get better. Democrat, Republican, I've never seen it get better. I've lived through 17 fucking wars. One of my earliest memories was the goddamn Oklahoma City bombing. Then Columbine, then 9/11, then fucking Katrina, then fucking, the housing crisis. Then, and it just, and it just kept going on. And so that's why most millennials were just like, yo, man, we're just going to chill out and smoke a lot of weed and, try and get some hipster girls or whatever. And not that that's like a great thing or anything, but it's just, that's a lot of the sort of infantilized parts of my generation are due to that, of just like the constant, like, nope, now this is happening. Nope, now this is happening. Now this is happening. It's crazy. Yeah, see, the other thing is politics is also bred in circuses. Like politics, like people say politics is all that matters, and like I know that's the right wing version of like um everything is sex. Like the Freudian, like sort of like every single thing a human does, it all comes down to sex. It's like that is true, like in a way, the same way that politics is all that matters is true in a way. But like what matters is like family, friends, life experiences, living, enjoying the good because life is pain and suffering for the most part. Managing the boredom because life is long. It doesn't go by fast. It goes by 1 minute at a time. It's fucking boring and slow. Do I think Vance has a chance? I don't fucking know. Vance is a Ohioan. I think that's cool. I've never really heard him say anything that like I disagreed with. I think he's incredibly articulate. Like I said, he's Ohioan. And but I mean, it's just the tech stuff. The tech stuff's weird. Also, people that change their name are fucking weird to me. It's just like family and all the other stuff goes without saying. Yeah, I don't know. It's just weird. It's just weird to me that like the Peter Thiel stuff, and I'm not even one of those people that's like, oh my god, Peter Thiel is the most evil fucking. He really is the Antichrist. It's like, like he's just a fucking billionaire guy, and to be a billionaire, you have to have your hands in evil shit. That's just kind of how it goes. And it doesn't even mean that the billionaires are evil, but they have their hands in evil shit. Plenty of people in the middle class and lower classes have their hands in evil shit too, but it doesn't get looked at that way because it's not JD three names, three stacks. Yeah, the eyeliner, I don't know what that's about either. A lot more dudes are wearing makeup nowadays because the cameras are on them, and whatever. I get it. Everything is optics. You know what I mean? You want women to vote for you. Women go off of like just who they like, how they look. If it's down to one guy or the other. So I don't know. I mean, Trump wears a lot of makeup. But with JD Vance, I guess it's just like, what is he gonna do? Is he gonna come? There's a classified version of. Dude, it's what I've realized. It's like most people have normalcy bias, and their brain simply will not let them accept that they have been lied to on a level that large, or that people can be lied to at a level that large. It's a horrifying thought for most people. It's a horrifying thought for me. But like, I can at least sort of protect myself from it through the narrative side of it and getting to at least like talk about it or expose it. But yeah, I don't know. It's scary stuff for a lot of people that are just trying to go about their day. And a lot of people have built up this image of themselves as a smart, competent person. And no one can get over on me like that. And yes, exactly. It destroys their foundational ego. I couldn't have said it better. That's yeah. And it's just very hard to accept that they've been lied to. And it's very, especially, by the government, by the people that are supposedly there to like protect them and serve them. It's painful, and it becomes twice as painful when you realize there's nothing you can do about it, really. Like there's plenty you can do. But the fact is, man, you say like nobody gets mad, and it's like, yeah, man, people don't want to be mad. Like people want to grill some hot dogs, fucking watch a game. And again, it's because like life is pain and suffering. The earth is dark and cold and mean. But there is a flip side to it, and people would rather be on that side then acknowledge the reality that it's cold and dark and mean, and someone could just come take your children one day and you never see them. You know, people can be born into slavery still. You never even know who they are because they don't have a social security card because they were made in some breeding factory. Demented fucking shit, dude. Hell on earth. And that's because God put Satan in charge of earth. That's it. And that's why politics doesn't matter to me. You know, Democrats and Republicans, left and right, all speeding towards the same cliff. Only difference is how fast. You know, lefties want to hit the fucking nos on it. Right wing people are like, well, the brakes are a little bad, but I think we can manage. But it doesn't matter. The world's going to end. It's all in God's hands. You know? People that amass power and money and weaponry for good, they say, well, we're going to overthrow the evil guy. They do it, and maybe they're good for a little while, but then somehow, magically, they just turn evil. Or the system does. And you ever notice how no currency lasts either? You know, currencies fail. Languages fail. All these different bottlenecks and funnels of power. They become concentrated, because they become funnels for energy too, and attention. And that's what's like, that's what Satan eats. And when it's all done, thanks guys. Take that to the dishwasher. There's nothing left. Power destroys, greed destroys. All things that we think we want on earth, you know, sex, money, power, all of these things, these sins were designed to destroy us. And systems of power become so big that they have to have sins integrated into them to even keep going, and that's by design. And the CIA is the ultimate version of that. I have no doubt that the CIA has saved millions of lives without us even knowing it, prevented untold horrors beyond our imagination. But how many have they caused? Since 1970, America has killed 38 million people. That's how many people have died at the hands of Americans. It's a fucking lot. Or with American bombs. You know what I mean? Like, we have bombed the fucking shit out of the world for the past 50 years. Like, make no mistake about it, man. There's evil in our government. Our government is being used for evil. Isn't greed subjective, though? No. Not to God, it's not. God knows your heart. There's nothing subjective to him. So, I don't know. I just, you know, all these tech billionaires that love to go on their little ayahuasca trips and, you know, have all their little gardens and seem so down to earth and blah, blah, blah. And it's like, come on, dude. Come on. You fuck someone over somewhere. You know what I mean? Like, you know, this data center is going to destroy this community. You know, the wages aren't high enough, whatever it is. So live, like, to show true put. Nah, I'm not telling you how to live, man. I still want to make more money. You know what I mean? There's nothing wrong with, like, wanting to improve your life. I'm talking about, like, if I wanted to make money to start a company to then destroy other companies and be the biggest company and all that, no matter what my intentions would be, the ultimate result would be the destruction of my soul. And by the way, some people are more equipped to do that and stay on that path than other people. I'm not a person that you want to have $1 billion. Who knows what I would get up to? I might just buy a child army on like day one and just take over like a big swath of Africa. My soul can't handle it. You know what I mean? My heart's not ready. I haven't read the Bible enough. I haven't lived a pious enough life. I haven't, most of my life has been entirely self-serving, you know, not thinking about other people at all. I'm not thinking about bettering the world around me and the people around me. And it was only through art and pursuing art, which started out as a selfish pursuit. It was only once I got in there and started doing it that I realized, like, oh, this is a place where I feel like I could be a generous person. This is a place where I feel like I feel safe enough that I have the time to think about other people and want to help other people and help them on their journey and stuff like that. So, yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, there's nothing wrong with like making like I'm not talking about people that make like fucking $500,000 a year. I'm talking about like billionaires. Like Elon Musk is gonna be a trillionaire. It's like, bro, you don't have enough. Like you don't have enough. You can't. There's no possible way to even spend the money. And I get it. He doesn't like literally have $1 trillion in the bank, but you know what I mean. That's greed to me. Even if like him in his personal life, I'm sure he's a very generous guy. You know what I mean? But it's like, what does generosity mean when you have infinite things to give out? Is that really generous? It's interesting. It's interesting to think about. But like, I don't care if people want to make more money and stuff like that, but there are some people that it's like, if you guys ever saw the show Succession, there's a wonderful scene where the old TV guy is trying to sell his company to this young startup hotshot guy. And the hotshot guy is trying to show him his cool fucking island out in Sweden, and he wants the other guy to be impressed. And he's just like, the old billionaire's not, because he doesn't give a fuck. He's just like, oh, how do you like the island? He's like, oh, whatever, it's boring. Everything's fucking boring. And the other guy's, the old guy's like, yeah, I know, everything's fucking boring. Everything except for this. Meaning the deal, the talk they were about to have. He didn't care about the niceties. He came to eat that. You get to this place where it's not about having more money. It's not even really about making more money. It's about the dopamine hit of closing the deal. Of knowing you made more. You won that day. You beat somebody that day. You got the best of somebody that day. That's an addiction. That'll eat you alive eventually. Yeah, I mean, like, even donating, like, plenty of charities and nonprofits are corrupt too. I'm not saying that, like, billionaires should even give their money back. It's just that I don't know. I just think how we look at money is kind of weird. But also, I never really had money growing up or anything like that. So I don't think about money a lot. I really don't. A lot of people grew up without money, and it causes them to be like, well, I'm going to make money. I'm not going to be like my parents. This is going to be my thing. And I don't know. It's just like an afterthought to me. It's a complete nuisance. I just don't give a fuck about money. And I know I need to make more of it because it's not just me. It doesn't matter if I don't give a fuck about money. My family does. Like, my fucking pantry does. The electricity in my house gives a fuck about money. So, I'm not saying like, I'm just so above it all. That's not it. It's just like, I'm just so retarded when it comes to art. Like, I just want to do the art stuff. That's it. So, yeah. And also, when I look at, I gotta go smoke a cigarette because I gotta get off here soon. Not enough, some money laundering, philanthropy, private donations, like the way people give money. Yeah, like if I had like millions and millions of dollars, I would like regularly, drunkenly give people 20 grand to start their business. Like I can absolutely tell. If somebody like told me an idea for a business they have, I would just be like, "Here's 20 grand." Like I don't fucking care if you make it back. Just like I would have wanted somebody to do that for me. And so, I don't I don't know. I just don't give a shit about it. It means very little to me. Physical things, period, mean very little to me. I don't care about having nice shit. I don't. That's why I fuck with Asmongold so hard, dude. He's just like a fucking piece of shit. Like he's so fucking dirty, and like his house is just shitty and old, and it's got holes in the floor, and like he's got millions of dollars. He could fix all of it. He just doesn't give a fuck because it doesn't matter to him. That's so cool. That's so cool to me. You can tell when somebody's really money obsessed, and it's just a really unattractive quality. It's just like, man, it's not real, right? Yes, the things it buys you is real. The security it buys you is real. But it's like, spiritually, I don't think it does anything, you know? And like, the other, yeah, you're right. This is why we don't have money. um, the other thing is, though, I mean, like, I've met plenty of people that had a lot of money and they were wonderful, generous, decent people. You know what I mean? But it's like, because they lived their life in a way that got them that money, they were actually able to be generous. So like I could sit here and be like a judgmental fuck all day of like, oh well, if you have money, you're actually, like people get so cynical about stuff like that, and it's like no, to me, like I've failed a lot of people in my life because I didn't have money. I didn't have money to help them, and you know what I mean. They probably could have used it, and so that's another flip side of that coin too. The people that actually have money are the only ones in a position to really help people. And so if you're sitting around just being a fucking brokey all the time, you're not really, if you don't have kids and no one's really depending on you or whatever, that's one thing, I guess. But, that's why I care about money a lot more now. And at least with my art, I've always tried to make sure it makes sense. Like I've pretty much always got like in the black with like the cost versus revenue of my artistic endeavors. I haven't invested like hundreds of thousands of dollars in shit and only made a little bit back. It's been pretty much profit for the most part. But I don't it's harder and harder to do every day, man. And not just for me, but in general, just for the world. And I still have a better chance than a lot of people, I think. Man, I just keep thinking about these fucking YouTubers who, like, they really fucking, they got $20,000 in Google AdSense that just got vaporized, just taken from them, and that's really, it seems like a big wealth transfer. It seems like a lot of the bigger Mr. Beast style channels have sort of been bitching to YouTube behind the scenes and being like, hey, you know what? Get a lot of these fucking small creators off here because they're just fucking up the revenue. Let's see. Appreciate you, brother. Excited to watch this from beginning tomorrow. Your Lucky Larry cartoon is the best movie I've seen in 15 years. Thank you. I can't wait for people to see the full thing, but it's a ways away, man. It's gonna be hard to, I don't know, it's gonna be hard to do, but it's got to be done right. And I don't want to just put something out there just because people are like, they want it, like I want it really bad too, but I don't want to have the quality suffer. And if I can make it in a way that it's seen by a lot more people, I want to do that. I want to change some normies' hearts and minds with it. You know what I mean? Can't just all be tinfoil chuds. And I'm trying to also do it without AI if I can. Like, I would love to have a real animation team and stuff like that, but it's probably not going to happen because they're expensive as fuck. Yeah, if it's worth doing, it's worth doing right. But I've got a lot of other stuff than Lucky Larry planned. But Lucky Larry is the thing people respond to the most, and so like I know that's like my best foot forward. in terms of like what I should go with next. Yeah, I mean, like right now, since there's only a few of you here, we're in the process of like a lot of the people we've been talking to, the studios and stuff, have been asking us like, well, what if it wasn't a series, and what if it was like a trilogy of movies? And at first, I didn't really like that idea, but my producers kind of warned me down on it, and I'm actually starting to really like see the benefit of it. And so there is a chance that it will. I mean, it'll still be the same story. Like it's not really going to change a ton. It's just that it's actually way easier to make money off of movies and sell movies than it is a show. I never really understood this until I started this process, but like shows and movies are actually very different. And it's because I was making it with AI, I could do it very cheaply, but to do it with like real distributors and real studios and stuff like that, to then be able to make like real money with it, that is a fucking process. And if you have a movie, it's just so much easier to do than trying to convince people to give you money for a full show. So there will definitely, I mean, there's no way I'm just going to make one movie. I mean, I plan on telling the whole story. So it's either going to be a trilogy or it's going to be, 10, 12 episodes, something like that. All of the bigwig people and all of the producers and money people involved in this thing are all leaning towards movie, and I'm leaning towards it as well. Because just having a trilogy of films, like I never really set out to be like a TV guy or like make a show and do episodic things, and so this is way more in my wheelhouse if I have to turn the story into movies. Lucky Larry was just unique because there was so much story there that I could fill out 10 episodes with all the things there. Um, so as far as what happened on 9/11, bro, like it's a really bummer, disappointing answer to most people, but like it was neocons. Like it was Zionist neocons who were just starting the Greater Israel Project, basically. Well, not even starting it, but just continuing it and accelerating it. Lines they've asked me not to cross, no lines that I didn't want to cross, or you know what I mean, or like we're intending to. The thing is with Lucky Larry is I was kind of putting like Benjamin Netanyahu in there as like sort of lip service to a lot of like the it's the Jews crowd, because like that's a big part of conspiracy stuff. And but the truth is I didn't have a lot of stuff in the story, and I didn't have a lot of evidence of Israel's involvement. Now I did, there's definitely going to be stuff about Israel in there and whatnot. But as far as like Benjamin Netanyahu himself, beyond like what he wrote in that book, he wasn't actually like the most important dude in politics at the time. He was influential for sure. But no one's like asked me like, oh, you can't mention Israel or anything like that. But they have said like, hey, if like this thing's all about Israel, you're gonna fucking spook people away. And the truth is, I just didn't dedicate a lot of time in the story to talking about that because I had way more stuff to talk about with the shit that is pretty verifiable. And so, I don't know, dude. I'm not a skater. I'm fucking 6'3" and have balance issues because of psychedelic drugs. So there's skating is one thing I'm not doing ever. Um, but no, no one has told me we can't do this, can't do that. And the main reason is because we're still going to self fund it. We're still going to make it ourselves. Um, and like I own the story. I'm in complete creative control of the story. And so like if it got down to it, it would have to be a compromise and not them just telling me like, "Oh, you can't do that." Um, I just don't. I just don't. Dude, if you ask about the knee gear one more time, I'm assuming you're gonna be a bot, and I'm gonna tell you to fuck off. But I'm getting off here soon anyway. But I don't like talking too much about what I believe about what happened with 9/11 because I'd rather tell that through the story. Because I think it's much more of a feeling than an explanation. It's much more of a tone than an explanation or like a, this is exactly what happened. I think everybody knows why 9/11 happened. Um, Everybody knows what the result was. Everybody knows who did it. The real mystery is how they did it. The real mystery is like what actually took the towers down, what actually, exactly, the convergence, what actually hit the Pentagon, who were the hijackers actually, what was their involvement with the FBI and the CIA. The how is the big mystery that no one's ever really, everybody questions it, everybody has theories, but no one's ever actually posited like this is how they did it. And that's the goal of Lucky Larry. The goal of Lucky Larry, for better, for worse, for right or wrong, because I know I'm going to be wrong on stuff. I know people are going to disagree with a lot of the stuff I put in there, or don't put in there, like, like the holograms and shit like that. There's going to be people like, oh, this is bullshit. The planes are holograms. It's like, this is my take on it because no one else has fucking done it. No one else has fucking actually said, this is exactly what happened. This is exactly how they did it. They just ask questions. They go, isn't this weird? Isn't that weird? And I don't fuck with that. I want to be like, nah, this is what happened. This is how they did it. And it's going to be weird. It's going to be absurd. It's going to be a lot of different things. But it's at least going to be a beginning to end story of like, this is what happened with 9/11. So with that, I'm going to go to bed. Already stayed up way too late and yapped way too long. And yeah, I'm proud of you guys. Hope you have a good night. Probably not going to do one of these for a couple more days because I am going to start looking into Kick and Rumble and other live stream things. Because I mean, apparently some of you guys like hearing me fucking talk. So if this is something we can build on, I'd like to do it because I just like having an open channel with you guys and hearing the feedback. And I like the compliments too. I'm very susceptible to flattery and all that. So yeah. Anyway, peace.